All right, just going over the script with our good friend Dan Mayfield here from Albuquerque Business First.
And
Howdy.
there's a lot of business news today. There's a lot of stuff
There's
to
a
talk
ton
about.
of stuff going on. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Dan, reporter for Albuquerque Business First. Always good to see you guys on Monday morning. We got to talk about Virgin Galactic first. It was a very sad event. When I saw that on the news Friday, I went, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, space is hard, and that's what they keep saying.
Is.
And there's Richard Branson there with the model of the Spaceship Two that was the plane that crashed this last Friday in the Mojave. And we're getting some details now, and we're hearing that the plane actually broke up in midair. It's got this really interesting way that it shifts to have an air brake, and apparently the air brake went too soon. And it was just the forces in the air were enough to make it split apart. It was kind of just a rough thing. And one of the pilots is okay, I guess he's moving around, but the other one did die in the crash on Friday. But what that means for New Mexico is that, well, Virgin, was the anchor tenant at Spaceport America down south. And the state spent $220 million on that thing, trying to really create our own little ecosystem of space tourism here, and it between Virgin and Up Aerospace and Xcore and the other companies that are going in there, it was supposed to be a really grand thing. And Virgin Galactic they originally thought they would be flying in 2007, 2008. They've had a handful of setbacks, and here's one more setback. And it looked like we might even be seeing flights next year, but not after this. It will probably take a little while now for them to figure it out and redesign and go from there. They've already spent $500 million on the plane and developing it, and so it might just really set that back. Who knows how far? They never did set a firm deadline. I've talked with George Whitesides, the president of the company, who keeps saying, "We will fly when we are ready to fly."
Right.
They're never
no pressure.
Right.
Yeah,
We're not going to push this thing. These things are dangerous, as clearly, know. And they can't, with the people that are going to be aboard that thing, as Richard Branson's going up. Mick Jagger is one of the guys who has a flight booked on this thing.
Justin Bieber is on
there.
there.
Justin Bieber. Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, they all want to go.
Right, I don't blame them too. I would love to go myself.
Yeah.
But, when you're flying around Lady Gaga, you can't afford to have any kind of accident. So they're going to fly when they're ready to fly.
Yeah.
But it really did set us back, I think, several years. And it's going to be tough for the guys at the spaceport because they were really looking forward to having a lot more action down there. And the launcher vehicle, they call it the White Knight 2, which is it's got the twin fuselages with the plane that hangs in the middle. And that thing has actually been flying, and it was testing at Spaceport America lately.
Yes.
And a lot of us figured that was because they were going to be launching soon.
Right.
So I think
it really comes down to this. This future of the spaceport is in the hands of one guy, and that's Sir Richard Branson.
Right.
It really is. I mean, he's determined to go forward.
Right.
No great successes are ever easy. There's always detours and bumps in the road and tragedies and things like that. But he seems determined. Hopefully.
Well, one of the things with the spaceport, luckily, they have Xcore's been launching there, and now Elon Musk's other company, his rocket plane, SpaceX, has been launching there, which is awesome too. So there is activity at the spaceport, and that's great because we need the rent coming into the state to support the spaceport. If the whole business model was so that state builds it, but these private companies maintain it. And so they're in there, they're paying rent, it's excellent, and so that thing will survive. It just won't be the grand tourism destination that we were hoping it would be. It's probably for a while.
Just not yet.
Not yet. It will be, just not tomorrow.
Exactly, that makes sense.
October was a good month for business in New Mexico.
Yes, tons of stuff
Let's talk about a few things and announcements that happened.
There have been a lot of things lately, and it's, as I talk to economic developers in the state, they say it's the culmination of several different things that's been happening. And we've had, in the last really 6 weeks, several major job announcements, which has been pretty cool.
That is awesome.
The guys in Belen, the old Solo Cup factory down there, they used to make the red Solo Cups in Belen, and that factory shut down in 2008. But now a textile company that does some really innovative stuff has taken that over, and they're going to be building recycled fabrics there, which is very cool. Flagship Foods moved in, and they're going to be taking over the old Albuquerque tortilla factory. And then a couple other spots in Comcast, 450 new jobs. And so something's rolling and something's happening. A lot of folks are saying it's because of the tax changes that really happened almost 2 years ago now are finally starting to get traction with economic developers and
Awesome.
finally starting to get traction with site selection guys who are coming in.
Those seeds that were planted are now finally coming into bloom.
Right.
Awesome.
Yes, it's taken a while, but
Yeah.
it's finally happening, and that's really interesting to watch. It's very cool to watch. You know, of course, the cynical reporter in me says there's an election coming up, and that's why a lot of these job announcements are happening.
But it's happening.
But it's happening.
You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Optimist over here.
Right,
So.
right. And you know, these are manufacturing jobs, which is more important because of the economic-based jobs that we really need to diversify the economy.
I was talking with Gary Oppendahl, the economic
Absolutely.
guru
Yeah.
of the city, and I saw him during the Balloon Fiesta, and they were entertaining several companies during the Balloon Fiesta. He said it's looking really good.
All hands on deck right now in
Yeah.
his office, bringing companies in, wining and dining them, and showing them the
man.
best that Albuquerque has to offer. And it's
Awesome.
really great. And you know, they did something interesting. Gary brought in all the folks to the deal stream at the Balloon Fiesta this year, which was cool. And that's one of the big investor conferences we have in the state.
Yes.
And so he was bringing in all of those companies to the Balloon Fiesta. They used to do it in the spring, you know, when wonderful weather in the spring, but why not show off the best that Albuquerque
Yeah.
has and just bring them during the
Exactly.
Balloon Fiesta? And that was
Exactly.
pretty cool.
It's a good idea.
Right. But along with that, and this is what my big story this last week was on, is I've been on a number of exits in companies. And a lot of people say, oh my God, the company was sold, that's bad.
Yeah.
And really it's not. You know, when you look at New Mexico Gas Company was sold for $950 million. It's the largest sale of any company in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was bought by a company called Tico Gas out of Florida. That's a huge deal. Here's this large $300 million company coming in and saying, we want a piece of New Mexico. We're believers in it, and we're going to be here for 10 years, and we want to grow this gas company. And they're seeing us as a developing state.
I love it.
It's excellent, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, the Loveless Health Plan was sold for almost $200 million, and this is all in the first 9 months of this year. Exogen is going through an IPO. I think we talked about that last time I was here. And then, you know, Google was in town and bought Titan Aerospace and Moriarty Leaks. These things, it's just really rolling. Lumidyne was sold for $60 million to a venture capital firm. These things are amazing right now. And what's more interesting about that, and even with MCOR being sold, selling off its major space photovoltaics division here in town for $150 million, all of these things mean it's creating more wealth in the city. You know, these guys that have kind of put their lives on the line and invested and worked hard in these companies are finally seeing the fruits of their labor.
Yes.
And Hong Ho, who's the CEO right now of MCOR, says he wants to stick around. He wants to help some companies. He wants to help startups, help these companies grow. And that'll be something great to talk to Eric about in a minute. From
Yeah,
the Tech
we'll do
Council.
that.
Because there aren't many people with that kind of experience. You know, who else has run a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ in New Mexico? He's the guy.
He's it.
He's it. And so it's great to have him say, I'm going to stick around, I'm going to be on the ground, I'm going to help, and probably invest. I mean, that's a rare and awesome thing to have happen.
That is.
And to have that happen in the first 9 months of this year, to have so many of these things turn over, it's really bringing a lot of experience and a lot of wealth and really a lot of diversity into the economy. People worry that we're losing some of our homegrown company names.
Oh, I see.
But I think that's missing the point of these companies are growing and they're attractive to other people. And when we are growing companies that people want to buy, that's kind of the, you know, in that world, that's what you want to have happen.
Yeah, and change is good too, I think, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And it brings in new faces, new people, new developments, and who knows where, you know, Veritas Capital is buying MCOR, for example. They're keeping all the employees here and everybody's going to be here, but having their, you know, they've got several $1 billion worth of investment money and experience behind them. It's going to be huge to have that kind of experience on the ground here in New Mexico. You know, who knows where they will take the company. You know?
Got about 2 minutes left, Deanna.
Yes.
The big announcement today down at Albuquerque Business First.
Best places to work.
Best places to work. It's a coveted
Yes,
prize.
it
that
is.
Many companies want.
It's on our website, 36 companies, and it's going to be, the date of the event is 12/12. You can't forget that one.
Okay.
So just in another 5 weeks, I guess, from now. It's hard to
Yeah.
believe it's so soon. We work all year long on this one. It's hard to believe it's already this soon.
Exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish I could remember all of the names of the companies, but there are 36 of them.
Okay.
And go to our website and go through the slideshow and see all the winners are all alphabetical. Small, medium, and large companies. It's a fun event.
How's it work? These are all nominated people,
Yes.
and then you'll select winners out of them.
We have an all-star panel of judges
Yeah.
that selects the winners. Dale selected all the, they've kind of vetted all of our nominees, and it's been a really long and I don't want to say arduous, but long and awesome process for us to
That's a
do.
better word.
Well, we love this stuff, right? I mean, how often do you get
I
to
can
like?
tell your face lights up.
Right?
I love it. I love when anyone's passionate about what they do.
Right.
It makes me excited.
Awesome. Well, you know, how often do you get to tell 36 different companies? Good on you. Your employees love you. You know,
it's like the
great.
Academy Awards. You're honored to be nominated, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Even if you don't win, you're in the game.
That's
So,
exactly it. So
That's
we
cool.
love it. We love that stuff.
Website has all 36 up there. Some names you'll know, and probably some that you've never heard of.
Right, and that's what we hope, that you'll learn about some new companies.
How
Very
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you know where to send resumes if you're looking for a
That's
job.
the other part of it
If I
too.
ever need a job, hey,
Right.
friends now.
Right. That's
Hey,
all the recruiters go there, right?
Indeed. Hey, Dan, it's always fun to talk to you, especially on Monday. Thank you. Have a wonderful
Anytime.
week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows what will happen this week, huh?
Yeah.
I think it'll be more good news.
Yeah.
Woo.
Cheers. Dan Mayfield, everybody, from Albuquerque Business First. Hey, stick around. We have wine. For Vera
We were
Wines.
talking about the Grenache a minute ago.
Yeah, it's
It looks excellent.
The wine will be poured next after this on the Morning Brew.